Now, if North London is the location that you are looking to have and build a family, then this lot at Auction House London is the one for you to look at. Now, they have suggested there is value in splitting it up into 4 flats. But I think when you watch this video and you see all of us nodding at the same time saying the same thing, you will hear and find out very quickly that a single dwelling house for family is where we think they should be. Now, we all differ on price, but there's nothing new there. But this episode is fantastic in terms of ascertaining what true value is, stripping out hope value, and really getting down to the bones as to why people sell at auction and what someone can get out of this asset. So make sure you watch to the end.
Welcome back to another episode of Property Auction Hunters, and today we have got this huge 5-bed house in a really affluent part of London. It's in Highbury. It's on with a guide price of 1.15 mil. It's got a lovely curb appeal to it, and I will pass you over to Piotr. So Piotr, do you want to kick things off on this one?
Yeah, definitely. So this is a really nice property. It's got approximately 2,200 square feet. It's over 5 floors, I believe, including the basement or like a lower ground floor. And what I like about it is being in the same family ownership for 70 years, which is usually a sign of a good property.
Good sign.
If it's been the same ownership for 70 years, you can expect usually good things about it. But it's basically, it's got potential for conversion into flats. And I think that potential is a bit of a hope value because of all the tax on new dwellings in Islington, which basically means on grant of planning, you have to pay like 50k for each new dwelling that you're creating. And this would be quite a lot of money. And I think this is best kept as a family house. And for someone to basically buy it, maybe like live in it and basically enjoy that tax-free benefit of increasing the value of a property where you live in.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff for me that kind of doesn't really sit well for a developer, can't really work for an investor, you know, unless you're going to, previously you were getting investors that were doing these as like holiday lets, like really high-end holiday type lets, short-term lets. And then as flats, I mean, I think the value in it is a house, because trying to, you know, very rarely do you get these kind of freehold houses that haven't been split up. These nice old Victorian houses, huge square footage as well for Highbury. So I do really think it's going to be the value of maybe someone buying it, doing it up, living in it, using obviously their personal tax relief on it, and then basically selling it and moving on. I think something like that would be really good. And I can imagine this is going to need a hell of a lot of refurb to get it up to the standard that realistically this could be worth 2 to 2.5 if it was done to a really high standard. That's my kind of thought process. John?
Well, yes, being a North London person, I would like to have had the opportunity myself some years ago to have a place like that. Fantastic area.
Yeah.
Great property. Not great for conversion to flats, even leaving aside Piotr's point about SIL and local taxation, but great family home for someone who wants to spend £1 million.
Yeah, easily I can see £1 million being sunk into that. Especially, I mean, when you deal with properties at that end of the market, your kitchens are £50,000 to £100,000. It's nuts.
So my view, are we pricing in yet? Or are we?
Yes,
you
go on.
I'll go last.
Well, there are not many opportunities for people to refurbish from scratch a home like this in that particular area of London. I'm a North London expert. So I would think someone will easily pay that guide price. And there are a lot of people for that particular area, there are enough people able to pay that money and have £1 million in the bank to do it up.
So you're saying on the head at 1.15 it will sell for?
At least I would think, yes. I think it's a great house. The legal pack's a bit thin. I did look at it.
I love having John with us. we don't do that part. We're kind of just talking about everything on face value. So yeah, go on.
I know. Well, the legal pack's a bit thin, but there's no search there at the moment. Older, just as a cautionary note, older properties, if they've been, sometimes especially if they've been let and they've been run down, you can often have local authority involvement. Work has been done in default, or someone has attempted something in planning terms and there's been enforcement. So I do think you want to look at the searches and so on, quite carefully. Less so because of planning constraints, because you're going to do it up as a fantastic house, but more that there isn't some charge sitting on there, accruing interest at 8% for some work in default or
Yeah, so checking local charges very carefully.
That kind of thing for these sorts of properties.
Yeah, and it does have a decent sized backyard, so potentially there could be extensions, etc., that could be done to it. So
it's a good party house.
Olivia.
I love these type of properties when they come to auction. I think because they don't just attract developers, investors, they attract those buyers that are buying with their heart because it's a nice area, it's an attractive property. Like you said, it's got a nice garden. I think that's where it makes for an exciting auction lot because it is very much what it's worth to that person. So if you've got, like you said, if there's a nice demand for that local area, someone is, potentially could get carried away in an auction room.
Retail buyers, hey?
Yeah. Exactly. So I think you've got a really nice wide market for this type of thing. Like you said, I don't think the flats work just on the costing side of it, but keeping it as a whole house. My idea, it's always difficult. I would go probably a bit higher, maybe at 1.3, I think, potentially.
Solid number, that is. Yeah. Very solid number.
Yeah, I might regret that.
So I can already picture the image that's going to be on YouTube. It's just going to be 5 nodding dogs. We're just all of us sitting here going, oh yes, yeah. I think we're going to find that we're all pretty much in agreement that it should be retained as a family home, an unbroken house. I would actually be a little bit more aggressive. I think maybe 1.35, and I think that would still be a deal. I think if you put an extension on this and really tarted it up, I think getting that 2.3 to 2.5 end val as a project home would be really very easy. So I think 1.35. Not that I have the money for that to spare, but if I did want to live in that area, I think I'd be comfortable at that price. Keep it as a family home, brilliant area, all the blah blah blahs that we've already said. Nodding dog, 1.35.
Wow, I love how you call being aggressive just being above reserve. I'll be really aggressive. I would say 1.45 million for this. We've seen properties like this sell with Savills recently. They did really well, and I think because it will attract people who buy with their heart, and it's also gonna be probably a woman deciding how much the husband should spend on this, and I bet it's like 1.45, 1.5 even possibly.
No, you need to pick one number here.
1.45.
1.45. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go 1.5. A, because I'm gonna be at the higher end of the spectrum. So if it does go crazy, then I'm still gonna get it. But B, I actually do think no one is going to factor in a margin when they're doing this. So someone's going to be buying this with the factoring in just the refurb cost, maybe obviously a bit of extra cost for auction fees, etc. And I think someone will be happy to have a brand new refurbed home to their taste at practically what the end value would be of 2.5. So I think someone will be happy to pick this up at 1.5, spend about $1 million on it and have it end value 2.5. Who knows? I mean, stuff like this will go up in the long term. So you might even end up in a couple of years this at 3.25. So yeah, I'd say about 1.5. The only thing I would say on something like this is, people are going to have to do their due diligence. When you get the retail buyers, they are extra cautious. So they will spend money on reading the legal pack beforehand. They will want full searches. They're not going to take a search indemnity, etc. But yeah, the 70-year ownership is going to give them a lot of comfort, I think, as well. That it's really important that they've highlighted it. Generally speaking, just from a point of view of they don't really want to be buying something like this from a trader and having a lot of kind of clawbacks, etc. So I like that. But Jay, what would be the repercussions if a trader put in ownership for the last 70 years out of interest? So trading standards wise.
So that's difficult because even on a back-to-back, not just on an assignable, but if you marry up the completions, they are technically the owner, even if it is for a fraction of a second, they're a technical owner. So they cannot really put that, and an auctioneer shouldn't let them do it. So this is Auction House London, yeah? What lot number is it?
25.
Not
25. Okay, so it's a certain person at Auction House London who has number 25 as their lucky number. So they believe that this is going to do well.
Yeah.
My gut feeling is they're quite an active team. Kind of in the same way that the Savills team are when they've been getting results on similar stock like this recently. So there is a chance that it could moonshot. I think it will do quite well.
So
but
you don't think this could ever be a trader?
there is no one in that company
on a
that would
back-to-back.
on a back-to-back. There's no one in that company that would make the argument to say, well, actually, they're back-to-backing it, so they're never really owning it. But actually, you're not. Whoever's going to be the ultimate buyer, the end buyer, they're not buying it from Mr. and Mrs. Smith that's been there since the 50s. They're not. So that becomes problematic. So
I think looking at the legal pack, this is a genuine.
Is it
kind of seller?
Because sometimes these are a bit probatey. That's also good for auction, and it doesn't have to be. But if they're saying it's in the same family ownership for 70 years, I wouldn't take that at face value. I would believe that.
Well, the good news is it's not lot 25A, so less likelihood of it being a trader. Let's put it that way.
It is, but there's a bit of faith from the auctioneer's side based on where they put it in the catalogue that this is a good lot and it's going to sell.
I would have this as lot 1 personally, because I think this would be a great lot to start the auction off, kick it off, especially if you've got the retail buyers and just get that momentum behind you. But I also appreciate not all your retail buyers are going to necessarily be there at the start of the auction either.
And that's a big reason not to have it at the start. You'd want the investors there who are going to be keen beans, looking out to get this done. And they're going to you're going to have to handhold a lot of the registered buyers to make sure that they're on the phones or they're online. And it's a fair bit of logistical work to get that done, especially wasn't the case pre-COVID, but it is now. But I think it will do well. I mean, maybe I'm a little pessimistic at 1.35, but I think it's a good deal at 1.35. It's probably still a good deal at 1.5
no changing your mind yet.
No, I'm not. Unlike the Barrow and Finesse, where I started really gulping it. Oh God, where did I do a run? But this I think will do quite well.
Nice.
It's if we were selling this on behalf of a client in that area, Auction House London would be one of the 2 catalogues that we would think to put it in. So it's in the right catalogue, it's positioned correctly, it's priced attractively. What's not to like?
Olivia, as an auction from an auctioneer's perspective, would you also be, because you're going to get a lot of interest in this in terms of viewings and legal pack downloads and stuff, would you be trying to basically get as much of that contact information as possible and then trying to go out and basically speak to clients that you think might be bringing similar kind of properties like this to the market and almost try and entice them and say, we've had a similar property that's sold, we had loads of interest that sold for this, we've got loads of buyers that will be keen on this. Would that be an angle?
I think there's certainly a demand that's picking up more so for it now. So I think with auctions becoming more accessible, you're seeing more of this type of probably more dated type family homes, which can sell on the open market. They have done for a long time, but you're seeing them more and more coming through auctions. So, and fetching really good pricing because it's giving everybody that opportunity to come and bid on it rather than selling to the first buyer that walks through the door. So, I think certainly when people are seeing those success results, then they'll look to auction as
and it's an affluent area. People have got money, so they're not going to be too worried about the whole 28 days to complete from a monetary point of view. It's just more from a legal point of view, which I guess they're not going to get gazumped. Again, they're not going to get gazumped. It's like 100%. If you bid on it in the day and you win it, then it's yours basically. Yeah. And that's what family home.
I tell you what I find interesting about seeing properties like this come into auction, especially. I mean, what we always say about these properties, it's really important to find out if you're the buyer what the seller's motivation is, right? Because there has to be a degree of motivation to be in the auction. But when you see something like that, it's because I would imagine the people that either own it or lived there have seen a couple of properties on that road in the last year, maybe, go up for sale with an estate agent and then go to best and final offers. And then round 2 of best and final offers. And then maybe even round 3 of best and final offers. And they're thinking, why would I go through all that mess where I can just throw everybody into the pot?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Get them in front of the auctioneer who'll be yelling out the numbers. You'll probably have Andrew Binstock or someone like that, or Jamie Weir rattling out the numbers.
Binstock will be wanting to do this one.
I do want to, but yeah, probably.
I love Jamie to bits, but Binstock would be all over this one.
He would definitely love a bit of that. But I think that's a really important thing as well. When people are seeing best and final offers, it's almost like the estate agents are saying, we should have an auction.
Well, it is. It's little mini auctions.
It is.
Have you seen that in Sydney? I don't know if you watch all of these kind of like, but there's one of these like listed property listing Sydney or whatever, and they literally sit there with it's like a virtual auction, but people come to the house and they kind of just sit there with a gavel, and effectively that constitutes your auction. Basically, they go to the property to auction it off.
Australian, they do it quite a lot. They're very energetic.
Yeah,
they dance all around the front garden while they're doing it. But they get big crowds in, and it's a really standard way of selling now for them.
Should we do Selling Sunset UK? Auction version.
Sunset UK. There's 56 square miles in the UK where you can see a good sunset.
Brilliant. Okay, so that rounds off
Amazing.
this property. So we're all in agreement. We think it's all going to sell. We think it's going to be kept as a residential house. The most important thing is, what do you think it will sell for, and what do you think that you would do with it if you were going to be buying it? So that rounds off that one for us.
So congratulations for making it to the end of this video, to the results section, and we will reveal how this property did in the auction. So this property, very, very surprisingly, didn't stand the auction, and like John said in his comments, the legal pack was a little thin when we were reviewing it, and it turned out that there was a structural report attached to the legal pack later on that revealed that there are some cracks in the property, probably due to the trees that are nearby, and I think that put off some people from bidding. However, this property did sell post-auction for 1.265 million, and we have a winner. Olivia was right the second time in her debut on Property Auction Hunters. So well done, Olivia, for being really close. Olivia said this will sell for about 1.3, but like we said, new information came to light that affected how this property was viewed by potential bidders. And I think this is still an amazing deal, even if someone spends another 100k underpinning this property or creating whatever kind of structural repair that's necessary. I don't think this will make it into a bad deal. I think this was probably purchased by an end user. They're gonna use it as their main residence, refurbish it, maybe refinance it afterwards. And when they come to sell this property, I think they will have built a really good equity base, and because of that, they'll be able to enjoy a tax-free profit if they use this property as their main residence. So this is a really good strategy. I think this property was purchased about £500 a square foot, which for this area is extremely low. And this property has got potential to be priced at around £1,000 per square foot in absolutely top condition with all the structural problems sorted. So let us know what you thought about this episode. And if you like properties like this, definitely come to the event created by EIG and sponsored by Hammered Auctions. We're going to be speaking there, and there will be a lot of speakers, guests, auctioneers, a lot of people to network with. And it's an amazing venue in Dickens Inn in Tower Hill. It will be a phenomenal event, 2nd of May. The link's in the comments. See you guys in the next episode.